Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Caru News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, and Organ Donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is not only current, very, very relevant. But before I will go on the main topic, I would like to inform you today world is celebrating World Environment Day. World Environment Day is observed every year on 5th June. The environment is a major issue which not only affects the well-being of the people, but also hampers economic development throughout the world. First held in 1974, it has been a platform for raising awareness on environmental issues such as marine pollution, human overpopulation, global warming, sustainable consumption, and wildlife crime. World Environment Day is a global platform for public outreach with participation from over 143 countries annually. Each year, the program has provided a theme and forum for businesses, non-government organizations, communities, governments, and celebrities to advocate environmental causes. The theme of World Environment Day 2022 is Only One Earth. Media conference with Lal Goel wishes you a very happy Environment Day and hopes that, especially in India, people will become more aware and plant more and more trees instead of cutting them. Now coming to our main topic, handling child tantrums. A tantrum, temper tantrum, meltdown, fit, or hissy fit is an emotional outburst usually associated with those in emotional distress that is typically characterized by stubbornness, crying, screaming, violence, angry ranting, a resistance to attempts at pacification, and in some cases, hitting and other physical violent behavior. Tantrums are one of the most common forms of problematic behavior in young children, but tend to decrease in frequency and intensity as the child grows older. For a toddler, tantrums can be considered as normal and even as gauges of developing strength of character. While tantrums are sometimes seen as a predictor of future antisocial behavior, in another sense, they are simply an age-appropriate sign of excessive
insecure, when the child is tired, when the child is hungry, or when the child gives his or her own mother, giving that love and affection which that child deserves to someone else. We get relatives into our home, they have their children of the same age group, we start playing with them. Child becomes insecure, starts throwing tantrums. This is for absolutely toddlers, infants. But when you grow up, I have seen more or less the same thing continues even in elders. Like, you go to their friend circle or something, they come back feeling a little insecure. You were taking really interest in that friend of mine. Don't you think I was looking better? This is the first question that comes up. So basically, tantrums are not thrown only by youngsters. As I said, it's thrown by every age group. So if you can know when your child throws tantrum, then you must know how to deal with it. Avoid those situations. Do not let those situations come up. For youngsters, it's easy. Before they start crying when they're hungry, give them food before, set sleeping pattern for them, see to it that they are fed well, they have a healthy eating habit and everything. But the most important, sir, that I would like to bring everyone's attention to, that every mother must be a role model. At times you want to say, I want to fly high, I want to be a free bird and all that. But I'm so sorry. All the while you are tied up. If you so much believe in your freedom, then okay, it's a free society. You are free to do what you want. But if you decided to enter an institution called marriage, if you decided to have your children, this society, I believe, have your life. Lead it the way you want. But if you decided to have children, then you are not a free bird anymore. Then the moment you become a mother, you have to be a role model for them. See, our appearances, everything is mostly genetic and learned at home. Those initial formative years, when you are at home, you see your mother doing everything. So it is up to you to teach that child what you want your child to become. If you believe in your freedom, then okay, then God only knows what will happen to the child. Then whosoever child is in company with, child will learn attributes from them. So if you are the mother, you want to play mother, then you have to be around your child. You have to be very sincere. Most of the time it happens. I'll just tell you a small incident. The bell rings and it's a Sunday. Someone comes home. Father or the mother doesn't want to meet the person who's come. They tell the child, or they tell the staff of the house, tell them I'm not at home. Youngsters, this is what they imbibe. Okay, if you don't want to meet someone, it's easy, just tell them I'm not at home. That is the starting of the dishonest behavior. So what I'm saying is you have to be a role model. You cannot throw tantrums. Tantrum can be anything. Emotional outburst or your nakhras or your attitude. You must behave very respectfully with your elders. If the child sees you not giving that respect or not attaching that importance to your seniors, to your elder generation, they will behave the same with you. They will think it's absolutely unnecessary because it will become a part of their system. So I would attach most importance to a mother playing a role model. Again, sir, we can't have our cake and eat it too. As I just said, it's not that I'm a free bird. I'll do what I want and I will expect that from my child. So whatever you expect from your child, again, you are a different mother. You have your set of notions. You are going on a certain line of actions. You would want that from your child. In today's world, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. No one has the right to call you wrong or right. You have to decide what is your right, what is your wrong, and the same you would expect from your child also. So what you call tantrum, you must see to it that you do not do that by yourself. And again, sir, this is the time when a mother should not become a parent, already having the connotation or conveying a generation gap. She should try to become a friend, having the same values, thinking on the same lines. So the moment you do it, because you're already friends, then you can ask him or her, what is it that you want? Again, I'm saying you have to play your role very carefully. Trust me, it wasn't so demanding in my time. We've discussed it for earlier topics that we were grown up like, I was slapped so many times by my parents and I give them so much of respect. Thank you. Whatever they bat me for, I don't do it again. But these are hard times. Your children cannot be brought up the way we were brought up. We have to be very understanding with them. We have to be strong, yet flexible. We have to be understanding, but disciplined. So our role becomes very demanding. Again, you said child tantrums, how to handle child tantrums. I say for everything, if I point out one finger at others, 3 point towards me. So my responsibility is largest. I have to understand my child. I have to analyze. I have to say how I want my child to become and behave. And accordingly, I have to counsel. So this is my input. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal, for giving your opening remarks. And Dr. Mittal has raised a very, very important point, and she says that the mother has to be role model. She says if the child is showing tantrums, many times it is because that they see how the mother is behaving with the elders, behaving with the others, and that's why the child also tend to start showing the tantrums. But she says that one has to be very, very courteous, respectful with others, and then the child will also be quite mild, will not show those types of tantrums, etc. Thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Miss Karishma Chhatrapati. Miss Karishma Chhatrapati is an inner transformation coach. She is the founder of the Being Spiritual with KUC. She is knowledge partner of FITSA Private Limited, Mumbai. She started out as a journalist, then progressed to an editorial desk job, and on the side, she completed her master's in psychotherapy and counseling and master's in psychology. For 8 years, she tripled up as an editor, freelance writer, and corporate coach and psychotherapist. Then in 2008, she switched completely to coaching, psychotherapy, and counseling, used a myriad of modalities to help her clients. Her head was filled with knowledge of tarot, angel card readings, Hindu rites and rituals from a spiritual perspective, crystal healing, Reiki, guided meditations, mindfulness, hypnotherapy, astrology, run casting, crystal ball gauging, art therapy, handwriting and signature analysis, candle meditations, etc. Being spiritual with 𝐂𝐂𝐑𝐔, she crested community. Her every blog post comes from a space of deeper understanding, wisdom brought about by the awareness that comes through experience of the lessons learned. Welcome, Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati on our show. Ms. Karishma, you have heard what Dr. Urvashi Mittal has said. But being a psychotherapist and a counselor yourself, you might have seen many parents might be approaching you saying that the child is showing tantrums, not listening, or their behavior has become abnormal, which is very, very common, especially the toddler or child of 3 or 4 years or 5 years of age. And definitely you are giving your valuable advice. We would like to know your views about the handling child tantrum. Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati, please.
Good morning, Mr. Lal, and all the wonderful panelists over here. And Dr. Urvashi Mittal, thank you for bringing that perspective on the fact that imitation does play a role in the tantrums. However, I would like to take this conversation a little bit more deeper into the fact that you brought in about children beginning their tantrums at the age of 18 months. And the very important aspect that we need to look at is the why of it. Why do the tantrums happen in the first place? Now, across the domain of me counseling children and counseling families, for most of the time, I have seen and I have through therapy helped people understand that tantrums is a result of delayed gratification, and they are caused to get into that negative, excited mode to call for attention, something that needs to be gratified. Now, if you notice a baby, when a baby is hungry, there's crying. If a baby is sleepy, there is crying. And for every crying that happens where the baby is concerned, it is a tantrum. You may think, oh my God, are you really saying this? But yes, how would you know otherwise? That child has learned to cry for something that they need. Would they laugh and say, ha ha ha, hungry? If the child laughs, would you think that the child is hungry? No. You know the child is hungry because they're pointing out to the pain that they're going through because of what they require. Delayed gratification reaction. Now, as they grow older, they have learned that. They have learned that if I throw a tantrum, if I cry, if I call to attention, will it be fulfilled? Now, as part of the development of the child, if you learn to control this situation and you learn that when the child asks for something and you're not delaying their gratification, then you will ensure that as they grow up, they don't need to throw tantrums for something that they require. The tantrum is always for something that they want. Mama, mujhe cycle chahiye. Mama, I want this. Mama, I want that. And they would fight for it. So tantrums also leads to stubbornness. So at the very root of it, awareness as a parent, and I would not only say this is about mothers, but as a parent, as a guardian of the child, awareness towards your child's requirement, explanation of what will be fulfilled at the right time, the reward for delayed gratification response are absolutely very, very value-added aspects where parenting is concerned. Because kya hota hai, if at the right time we don't teach them that everything cannot be gratified in the moment on the go, as they grow older, then yes, there will be adult tantrums, which then make for a very harmful environment for relationships that get nurtured. And then it becomes a cycle. As a child, you were not gratified, you were not taught, you were not trained. Then as a parent, you don't know how to handle your child. You're still throwing more tantrums in your relationship. And it's just murky and messy. So as parents, it is very, very important to understand that your baby is demanding your attention vis-a-vis what is required by the baby at that point. And how can you meet to that? And as the child grows in awareness, in intelligence, how can you sensibly, maturely have conversations with them? Because trust me, the child's mind is growing and is developing right in the womb. Intelligence is happening in the womb, on the go. So don't underestimate the baby that is lying in your arm and crying every time they need something, or gurgling whenever they are happy. The development has begun. So when you know that your child is listening to you, rather than taking Instagram reels and photos of showing how intelligent your child is, use that for social development skills, which means that when the child is throwing a tantrum for something, instead of getting impatient and throwing a tantrum back at the child, have a healthy conversation. Divert the attention of the child to something that could be even more entertaining than what that child needs then, rather than adding to it. Because that's another thing. The child is getting impatient, the child is getting excited and is crying and it's all over the place. And the parent has no equanimity, is not in peace. So that tantrum adds to the energy around. And then there's this entire a cosmos of tantrums happening in that very room, in that very moment. Patience is very important as a parent, to be able to harness the energy of the tantrums that are happening at that point. If you notice the child, and I'm sorry, I'm continuously using the word tantrum because I do not check what is another word for it. But when a child is ready to throw a tantrum, look at the amount of energy that is required for it. Have you observed the full body, the face is rushing and, the entire body is moving? That means it's excessive energy. Harnessing that energy will help to pacify the baby and learn and have that child learn how to ask for things when it is required, rather than having to demand things. So the why of tantrums is based in the fact that when there is a delay in gratification right from infancy, the adult growing through that baby is learning that only when I use my entire negative force will I get what I want. And if you can harness that through your patience, through your maturity, through realizing it, through first calming yourself down, you will be able to help the child. And very important, the child's energy must be utilized very, very, very well, which means the child's activity, physical activity, emotional activity, mental activity must be met so that that excessive energy of throwing those tantrums are minimized to whatever level that we can. That is what I wanted to bring in today as parenting skills. Thank you so much for having me here. Looking forward to hearing my other panelists out here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma, for giving your views. And according to Ms. Karishma, the child, when they shows the tantrum, the parents' responsibility to tackle them properly, give them some social skills at that time, teach them the social skills, then only they will be calm, and tomorrow when they will become adult, they will not show the tantrums. But it is the duty of the parents to see how they can tackle. It's very, very important to tackle, because according to Ms. Karishma, whenever a child shows a tantrum, he or she is exerting lots of energy, because they are coming and they are raising their voice and giving all those vibes which consumes lots of energy. So she says it's very much important for the parents to calm them down, teach them some social skills, just see to it that they will be engaged in something so that they will calm down and they will not show the tantrums. Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati, for giving your expert views. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Ms. Joycey Rigo. Ms. Joycey Rigo is Mrs. India Dubai 2017. She is Managing Director of Mustard Collection UAE. She is the Managing Director of Rigo Events Private Limited. She is the Managing Trustee, Rejoice Mustard Garden Trust. Welcome, Ms. Joycey Rigo on our show. Ms. Joycey Rigo, you have heard what Dr. Mittal as well as what Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati has mentioned, and both have given their views. Now, you being a celebrity yourself, you being organizing so many programs which are for the social causes. You are dealing with lots of mothers. You are also dealing, and you being yourself a mother, you have seen the tantrums of the children, and you have also seen the tantrums of your other parents, and they are suffering and they are complaining many times about the tantrums their children are showing. Now, we would like to know your views on handling child tantrum. Miss Joyce 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 𝐍𝐄𝐖𝐒, please.
Good morning, Mr. Goel, and thank you for inviting me for this particular conference. And when I first got a message from you, I was really doubtful that would I be really doing justice for this topic. Why? Because in my home, tantrums are really very different than what Ms. Karishma and Dr. Urvashi explained. Because as you know, I'm from UAE, right? I'm living there since like 15 years now. And my kid is 12, the elder one, and the younger one is 8. So mechanical life is what we deal in UAE. There's always a timing. There's always a watch for everything. We get up in the morning. The kids also get up in the morning. They go to school. They have a certain sort of life that they come at around 2:30. As soon as they come, they're so tired from their class. I come back at around 5 or 6. By the time I see them, they're off for their tuition. They come back at 6. When they come back, they're so tired again from the studies. Then they go back to playing. So when they're playing around with their friends, they come back, they want to have their food. They spend a little time with me, and it's like the day is over. I mean, there is no room for a tantrum. And I was like, I know what they want. I know what they like. So I make sure that everything is ready when they see me. So most of the time when, as a mother and child, we are together, so it's like it's our enjoyment time. So tantrum for me in UAE with my children, it's like very less. We enjoy whatever hours we get in our hand. So it's like UAE for us. Of course, maybe when the kids would be in India, they would be tantrum, as what you said, because there's a lot of time here and the activities may be less for a child of a year compared to UAE. Because if you see my son, he goes for a skating board class, he goes for roller skate, he goes for cycling, then he's with his friends, then he's with the Arabic tuition, then he's with the other tuitions, and then the whole day at school. So most of the time, it's like the time for me and my children are really less. So we try to utilize it in such a way that what they like, I do first. I just keep myself aside for that particular weekend, we can say. For example, now Saturday, Sunday is a weekend. So those 2 days, we make sure that they get what they want. Even their food, they tell me on a Friday, saying that, Mama, tomorrow we need you to make this. So if I know that the next day, if that's not there, maybe, they might feel bad or angry, or they might start again throwing tantrums. So to avoid that, I make sure that what they have asked, I prepare a little bit more. Because in my home, they are more foodies, so they love eating. And even the elder one, who is my husband, who is also one among the child sometimes. So the tantrums even come from there. So I make it a point that we avoid all the tantrums at home and keep the things ready what they want. So this is one of the way, me being more like a child with them, I like enjoying with them. And yes, when you said role model, Dr. Urvashi and Karishma ma'am both were talking about the role model. I listen this from my kids' mouth most of the time, saying that, Mama, you are the role model for us. We like what you're doing with the village children. We like what you're doing with the beauty contest. We like what you're doing with the events. So most of the time we sit and discuss that. And they are more into it. They want to know more about it. They want to join me when they grow up. So this is one of the areas where I feel that they like what I'm doing. So the discussion is more on that area. But one thing, when we go to malls, we see most of this mother and children who are on the go with us. Some of the children, they lie on the floor, right? They're screaming, as what you said. And then my daughter, who is 12, she's like, why are they doing this? And I was like, no, maybe she wants something what the mother is not giving. So she was like, okay, so let her be like you. Let her give what they want. I said, maybe that child is asking for something which is not good for her at this age. So you never know. And so this way, make her understand. And so she makes the younger one understand. And this is how they gel with each other. So the family is so small. The surrounding for us is very limited. Because here we have every neighborhood a family member. Every neighborhood, so many kids around. But for them in UAE, this every mother can relate who is in UAE right now. Anyone listening to me, they will understand that social gathering is really less. And because of pandemic, it's like a full stop. We are also scared others coming to our home, plus we also get scared to going to others' home. So the social life is only between us now. So the tantrums are really less in our home. And I really hope it doesn't start. Yeah, at times it starts from me if I want something from them, but they try and make me understand, Mama, not now, I'm tired. Please keep it for some other day. We will do it together next time. So that's how we manage our life.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Joyce Rego, for giving your views. And what she says that the tantrums are less in UAE because she stays in UAE, because she says that life is very mechanical there, so they all are busy. Although in India also now the life, and especially in the metros, are quite busy. But still the tantrums which we are talking generally starts from the age of from 18 months onwards, where the child wants something. But it shows that Ms. Rego and her husband has tackled the children in such a way that their upbringing is such a way that they have not shown the tantrums. That's what Ms. Chhatrapati mentioned, that one has to tackle the child in the very beginning so that they will not show the tantrums when they become old. And that is fact that whenever you go to a mall, you will find at least one child is either crying or asking or lying on the floor because they want something, whether it might be a chocolate or something which mother knows that it is harmful for the child, but still child shows the tantrum. And there the parenting, good parenting works, how you have to tackle the child. So thank you very much, Ms. Rego, for giving your views. I would like to invite my last but not the least panelist guest, and she is Ms. Brinda Shine. Ms. Brinda Shine is the director of SAIBS Consolidated. She is the PhD research scholar. She is URF Asian record holder. She is an educationist. She was awarded GMRAF Women Educationist Award, Teacher Excellence Award, ESN Best Teacher Guide Award, etc. She presented papers on mind mapping, infinite possibilities, ability learning versus artificial learning, man and machines, technical skills, computers, web designing and programming, graphic designing, SOS, science of saving, rivalry against chivalry, comparative study on tuition centers, give women the hammer to break the glass ceiling, which she always say very proudly, give women the hammer to break the glass ceiling, unfocus the improved focus, farming the first appointed job of mankind, you are worth more than your waistline, etc. She holds certification in IATA member foundation level, Cambridge University, INET plus certified from 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔, Microsoft certified professional. She is member of International Association of Educators and Corporate Trainers. She has vast work experience in India, UAE, and China. She is also managing chefs, stops, groups of hotels and resorts. Welcome, Ms. Brinda Shine on our show. Ms. Brinda Shine, you have heard Dr. Mittal, Ms. Karishma, as well as Ms. Rego, and they have given their views. You are a PhD research scholar. Earlier, you were also associated with DPS schools. You are also doing lots of work in the society, and you have vast work experience in India, UAE, and China. And you are also now managing the chef's stop group of hotels and resorts. So with so much work you are doing, and Ms. Rego just mentioned about no time so that child could not show the tantrums, and she gave the example of UAE, although you also worked in UAE. So we would like to know your views on handling child tantrum. Ms. Brinda Shine, please.
Wonderful morning, sir, and to all the panelists and viewers of the show. And thank you once again for giving me the opportunity, and especially on the topic children. Like, it's something that is related to child, which is definitely my passion, because I feel that's the greatest thing that one can do. More than worshipping the God, taking care of children gives more happiness to me as a person. So like tantrum, which is nothing but the outburst of emotions. If we take the children are filled with emotions. We as adults, we can mask. You cannot find out what's going on in my mind. If I'm sad or happy, we can have the mask. Whereas the children, they don't know to mask their emotions. So this tantrum, it comes out as an outburst, is the emotion which the child is undergoing within. It might be a fear. Maybe the child is sleepy, tired, or there is some insecurity that is going on within the child. And this tantrum, if you see, it starts at the age of 4, where the child wants to communicate something, but the vocabulary, the child might know only, the baby knows about 50 words maximum, not even that. So there's no way that the child can exhibit its emotion, and all the child can do is either cry or kick, or like lie down and kick on the floor or hit something, throw something. So this is a kind of emotion which the child wants to, the child is trying to communicate something. And if you notice, this tantrum, the child throws to someone who's very close to the child. Maybe it's the mother or someone, if it's grandparent who's raising the child will show the tantrum to the grandparent. And if the child never shows it to someone who's a stranger, because the child has an emotional bond with that. So for a mother, it starts from the womb. And so the child feels that the mother will understand. And that frustration within the child that nobody is understanding is what is turned into a tantrum. So if we look at a closer look at it, it is nothing but the child needs either affection or attention or communication. So I always say, right from birth till death, a person needs only 3 things in life, for any age for that matter. It is one thing is attention. Everybody longs for attention, be a child or an adult. As we grow up, once we are young, we seek for attention. That's why even in the classroom, a child looks for an attention from the teacher that the child behaves naughty. As we grow up, this attention is turned into affection. We long for affections from someone. That's why at the age of teenage, the love affair comes, because the child now is more concerned on affection than the attention. And then it's the communication. So communication is the key for everything. If we look at the pattern of the tantrum thrown by the children, there are 2 emotions which are intertwining. One is sadness and one is anger. Some children will start crying that's the way they show their tantrum. And some children, they show anger, like throwing things. So these 2 emotions are intertwined, and that's how. So if you see the pattern, sometimes it starts with sadness and ends with anger. That is, the child will start crying. And after constant crying for a few minutes, the anger will outburst and it will start throwing or kicking or hitting. So, and some children, they'll start with anger, and then they'll end up crying. So this is the pattern, the way how a tantrum is thrown by the kid. So once we know, so as a parent, I always say that the parent counsel, the parent should be fully aware. You should be fully prepared to have a child, which is not very easy. Growing up a child is a big time task, and you should be physically and mentally prepared for it. So there is I want to take a reference from Mahabharata, where Gandhari, when she went to the war zone, and when she saw, she removed a blindfold at that time, and when she saw 100 kids they were dead, she was crying and asking God, why did you do this to me? At least you could have spared one child. Why? And the answer that was given by Krishna, God, is that it was your responsibility, Gandhari. You were blindfolded. It's your flaw that you did not take care of your child. So we cannot blame the child. Child is just a clay. It's like a clay, you get it in the potter's hand. We are the potters. We have to mold the children. So the parent has to, I would say that you have to find time, how much ever busy you are. End of the day, you are a parent, and a child is completely depending on you. We are their creators. So first thing is, have a routine, a pattern where the child knows how it is. And the tantrums comes once there is a change in the pattern. Like if we are traveling somewhere, the child has to settle in the new atmosphere. So be prepared for it. So that is one thing. And when the child starts showing the tantrum, first thing is distract the child. When they start crying, there are children who, yeah, there's a beautiful car, or show something, to distract the child from it, or even laugh, making the child laugh. That also helps in tantrums. And then, as I said, when you see the pattern, if the child shows angerness, that is the tantrum. Like if it is throwing something or, seeking for your attention, at that time, keep a straight face. sit like a robot, like don't give any emotion, don't have an eye contact with the child. A child who is angry doesn't like to be comforted. You have to leave the child. And once the child, after some time, you have to see, not that you have to leave throughout. After 2 or 3 minutes, try to console. And still if the child is, not like getting calm, leave the child for some time. So this is the pattern that you have to show for a child who shows angerness. If the child throws the toy, take the toy away, never give that toy again to the child, because the child should know it is not appreciated. And for a child who's crying, never leave the child alone. The child needs attention. So you have to take the child and comfort. So as a parent, we should be knowing where to use what, which pattern the child is. So for that, you should have a close, be it a grandparent, like now we all work. As said, sometimes the child has to be with the grandparent, educate them. So because whatever starts at childhood, it goes till the end. If everything, once the child knows that it can cry and get something, or if it shows a fight, like it gets, so that is carried away throughout the life. So, and then the vocabulary, as I said, create sign words. Children, they can understand. If a child can detect light, like right from 5 months, when the child is inside the stomach, it is said that they can detect if a light is on and off. That's why they say while you're pregnant, you should have a proper sleep pattern, because only then the child will also have a problem. That's why you should go to bed on time and wake up on time. Everything is routine. The children learns, they mimic the parents. So likewise, they communicate always. We seldom understand the communication of the child. It is our problem and not the child's problem. So teach them small words, like if it is food, what is the action? Some child, they'll rub their eyes or ears when they feel sleepy. So learn to try and understand the body language. So from my personal experience as a parent, for me, I believe more, and I started communicating with my son. I have a son, he's going to be 18 now. I always communicated. I used to talk to him when he was a baby. It could be something random, whatever. If I'm, arranging something, like I'm doing whatever I do, I always used to communicate. So we had that communication developed, and he also started talking at a very early age, because he always used to that communication. And I taught him, like it might, I don't know how it might sound to others, but I felt it's very working for me, because we used to have diya, like we had a small mandir at home and there was diya. And there's not even once my son went and touched the flame, because what I did is I took a steel glass with a warm water, not hot, warm water. And I just touched in his hand and I said, it's hot, hot, hot. So I did it around 10 times. And whenever my son goes anything, and that's the one word which I used throughout, and I used to say the word hot, and he never used to touch it. The children are very intelligent. And he also had the habit, whenever we go to malls or, like he used to go and hide somewhere, and I have to go and, he'll run away. And then I have to go running around to find him, because he was getting bored when I choose clothes or do something. So I did not know, like I was running for, then it's like, you learn it from your experience. And once what I did is I went and hid instead. And I was seeing him. For nearly 5 minutes, he was searching me everywhere and he was crying. It was a sad moment for me. But then I thought that's the way. And after 5 minutes, I went and stood in front of him and he held my hand. And I said, listen, he was around 4 then. You have to hold my hand. I cannot keep running after you. After that, not even once he went away. Always he used to hold my finger, because certain things we have to show it by action. That's the way they learn. Otherwise, we might have to, leave them. They'll try to be, showing the independent, like taking over us. We have to control them, not them controlling us. So that's what it starts from childhood. So I would say that parent should understand, should learn the emotion. If it is sad, you have to, if the child is sad, comfort the child. And if it's anger, like if the child is very angry or showing tantrums that way, just divert and get back. So this is the key. And I again want to end, these 3 things are the key in our life: attention, affection, and communication. Again, this should be at the limit. If there is over attention given for the child, again, the child is spoiled. It will seek for attention. So give attention when it is required. Give affection in abundance, because over affection will never fail you. Over attention may. Over affection always works. Nothing works better than love and affection given for a child. Rather than hitting or scolding the child, Tell the child it hurts you bad. Even be a child or a teenager. Rather, when you see your child at adolescent falls for love, don't scold, don't yell. It will only aggravate. Tell the child it affects you so bad. Communicate. Communication is the key. So affection, attention, communication, AAC. Practice in life, and I swear it never fails. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, team, for the wonderful opportunity.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda Shine, for giving your views. And she's very clear: attention, affection, communication. And what she says that the child requires attention initially, then the affection, and then the communication. And even the child, when it's toddler, the communication is the key word, because they want to communicate and we are not understanding as a parents. So that's why they start showing the tantrums. They are crying or they are throwing the things because they are not getting the proper attention because of the less of communication. And Miss Brinda Shine has given the example how she taught her son about the hot thing. She also mentioned that how she taught about that the child should not run here and there, especially in the malls and other places, public places. So all these things are coming because how the parents are going to tell about how to communicate properly so that the child will not be able to show their tantrums unnecessarily. Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda Shine. I'm sure today's program is quite enlightened, because when I selected this topic, many of the housewives and even the working women, they told me that we are all facing the same thing, but we don't know what to do. I said, please watch the show, because the experts are going to give their own experiences and their feelings and their expert advice. So I'm sure today's program is quite enlightening. Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda Shine. Now I would like to ask the question. First question goes to Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Dr. Mittal, you mentioned about the slapping earlier. Yes, scolding and slapping was quite common, especially in India. But in today's time, do you think that this scolding and slapping can reduce the child tantrum, or it is going to increase more tantrums in many other ways? What is your opinion, Dr. Urvashi Mittal, please? Please unmute.
Sir, I always feel one has to keep pace with the time. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Times have changed. This is the time of globalization. What is good for the entire world, that's good for India also. So these days, that tactic will not work. Rather, you must find themselves in their shoes. And again, sir, as the doctors and the CAs, they keep learning throughout the year, because so many new acts and everything and new treatments keep coming up. The same way, I believe we, the mothers of today, we must keep learning every single day. I'm so very much impressed by the practical examples which Brinda gave. But again, she just said, if I heard it right, if the son falls in love with someone, then you communicate. And then you communicate and say, and you share your feelings. She is right. We can communicate. But again, if the son has set his brains on, he will understand mother is not finding it absolutely perfect, but he would still want to go ahead with the same wedding. So you have to evolve. So the thing is, you must communicate. Again, sometimes we say like the charity begins at home. It's the environment. Children learn everything from their parents. Child is learning. So the first step was analyzing, find out where a tantrum can come from and try to give a remedy before itself. Even Joyce said, touch wood, she's blessed with a household where she doesn't face any tantrum, but she did say Saturday and Sunday, she could have tantrum, but then she prepares for it in advance itself. So she doesn't have any tantrums. And if she doesn't do that, she will also have tantrum. She also said that. So tantrums actually exist. It's not a fictitious thing that we are talking about. So what I'm saying is, we mothers, we have to keep evolving. It's not about our feelings. It's about theirs. If we have to be with them, and then we must understand the pressure on children. Okay, something which is not happening in my house. I've become an absolutely role model. But this is the time of globalization. There's so much of external information bombardment on children. They come back home imbibing something from somewhere. And maybe they say something, do something, which is like a shock to you. So Brinda very rightly said, just become like a robot. have a poker face or say something, I've got to do something important, there's a call, I'll come back, because you need that time to think how you should react. Your instant reaction will aggravate. You should never react instantly. You first have to absorb by yourself, because you are not their generation. You don't know what all new is happening. Frankly speaking, there's so much happening that we really have to be thick-skinned these days. We have to bring ourselves up to their level or down to their level, whatever word you may use, because these tantrums, they deal with emotions. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. It varies from one child to another. And as I said in the beginning, everyone has different endurance, different preference, different bent of mind, their capacity. So you just have to be patient with them. If at all it comes as a shock to us, then we must condition ourselves first. We must, take some time to absorb, ponder over. Then we should, and it should never be the reaction. It should be our balanced action. It should be our balanced response. Whatever children say, that's an action. Mothers should never react. They should only respond to that after proper thinking. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mittal, for giving this very good answer. Now, my question goes to Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati. Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati, do you think, like in Western countries, the parental counseling is required very much for handling the tantrums of the children? Do you think in India, this counseling has to be, being a counselor yourself, the lack of counseling that's why the children, and especially in the small cities or the rural area, the children, not rural area, I will not say rural area, because rural areas still have the joint families, but the families which are nuclear, but they are not in metros, or they are not taking the counseling, they are facing lots of child tantrums. Do you think the counseling is must for all the parents, those for tackling this tantrums, child tantrums? Ms. Karishma?
Thank you so much for this wonderful question. First thing, I want to congratulate two amazing moms out here who have been using great methods to ensure that their child or their children do not actually throw the tantrums that we see in the malls and in public places. Now, to answer your question, Mr. Goel, I would say that counseling is not really required, because a parent, it's inherent to be a parent. What is really required are workshops. Workshops to be able to guide, to educate, to spread the knowledge. Because when you have the right kind of knowledge, do you have the ability and are you empowered to improve your skill as a parent? Because parenting is a skill. So counseling would take them into therapy, which I would say they need that when they have a problem that cannot be handled. But definitely they need education, they need knowledge. And the best kind of knowledge does not just come from researchers and people writing papers, but from actual parents who have found great resources within themselves. And I see two wonderful women in Joyce and Brinda who really should design workshops that educate parents to be better parents. And yes, in the West, they have prenatal, postnatal, infancy training, communities where we can share things and share our, and I see that a lot nowadays, that parents of the community amongst parents of school-going children, they discuss a lot of things if they feel comfortable, and then they learn from each other. And those kind of people who are active in such communities turn out to be much better parents than parents who are struggling on their own and are literally drinking their own emotional turmoil and thereby taking that on the children. So I would definitely say expertise in this arena is required through education, knowledge, and awareness.
Okay, thank you very much.
Your question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma. And I'm sure your advice to Ms. Rigo and as well as Ms. Brinda, and I'm sure to Ms. Urvashi also, Dr. Urvashi also, because she is also being the very top post in the inner wheels. If they will start doing some workshops for the young mothers or the parents so that they will know how to tackle the child tantrums. Thank you very much. Now my question goes to Ms. Rigo. Ms. Rigo, we have seen that first child is not that problem. But when the second child comes to the family, the first child become very insecure. And that first child starts showing the tantrums by twisting the hand of the newly born, or by by showing some tantrums because he or she feels that the love and affection which he or she was getting is going to be shared or not getting that attention. Do you agree? Because you have two children and you might have seen when the second child born, what was the first and how to tackle that. Ms. Joycey Lego, please.
Sir, this is one of the topic I was actually missing that I didn't say in the first part. So, we shouldn't call it as a tantrum because it is their right to get that love, right? So my elder one was a daughter, and for 3.5 years, she got all the love and attention in the world what she should get from the mother. So now when the second was born, it was really difficult because we had to divide that child, saying that, okay, father, now it's your role. Take the daughter, be aside, and let me have my time with the son because he is very small. But I think somewhat the daughter was not liking it. So she was like, oh, see, you're carrying him. Now carry me as well. So if I'm carrying a month's baby and I'm carrying a 3.5-year-old was really difficult. But then I tried even that. I said, okay, fine. He's in one hand and now you come on the other hand. There used to be time that I used to get both arms pain and then they don't listen. They're like, no, it's fine if it pains for you, but we want to hug you from both the sides. So this was really normal for me then. Even when I'm driving, I used to see that my son wants to be on my side where good the police didn't see me. I had to even hold them while driving because they were not listening at all. It is like she used to tell me openly that it's my right, you're my mother also, you have to hold me as well. So while cooking, they're at my side. So whenever they go to sleep, when the boy is sleeping, I'll make it a point that I'm most of the time with the girl. So I used to tell them that, see, he's with me only for 2 hours, but you're with me for 4 hours. That means now your turn is done. And now he should get a chance to be with. And then when the dad comes, he makes it a point that he takes the daughter out. So she was more mature in understanding that she's getting more love. Why? Because the son is always with me, but the father doesn't have time to take the son because he's most of the time with the daughter. So the two children, at a very small gap, 3.5 years is really small. And, she understands because there are families who have got a big gap of like 6 or 7 or 8 years. They're really matured because the 8-year will take care of the smaller one. But in my home, there was a time that I went to the washroom. And when I came back, the baby was not in the cradle. And I was like, where is it? He was in the hall, just thrown on the sofa. And when I asked her, who took the baby? 3.5 is carrying this child. She just dragged him from the bed, hugged him, took him to the hall, threw him on the sofa. And she told me, because he was crying and you were in the washroom. So it is a kind of thing that, okay, you don't have to carry the child because you are yourself small and then the child might fall, then started explaining her, educating her. So somehow we managed. I told the daughter, okay, fine. You're also like a mother. So when mother is not there, you take care of the baby. So I used to give her the feeding bottle in her hand. I used to make him lie on her lap. So it started getting into a mother's feel for that daughter of mine. So now they are fine. So I can leave them alone with each other. And now they are together there. I'm here in India, right? So they take care of each other. So no problem. So she manages well.
So thank you very much, Ms. Rigo, to accept that your children also shows the tantrums. Earlier you said no, but whether you are in UAE or anywhere in the world, child tantrums will always be there in different forms. It is not only that, but it's a very common thing. Thank you very much.
That's their right, sir. That
is their right, and they have to. But we have to tackle in such a way that the elder child should not feel ignored, as well as the younger child will also get the attention which he or she requires. Thank you very much, Ms. Rigo. Now my question goes to Ms. Brinda Shine. Ms. Brinda Shine, do you think that child require more quality time from parents? Expectations are more, and that's why they start showing tantrums if the parents are over busy, or nowadays the parents are busy on WhatsApp chatting or on YouTube. They are not taking care of their child, what they used to take earlier, the earlier mother. What is your view about that, Ms. Brinda Shine?
You nailed it, sir. You rightly said. The more of the technology has taken our time on many things that the children, they do not get the quality time that we were getting. because at that time there used to be only one Doordarshan, and whichever movie was played, be it so old, like, you know, even it's played for the 100th time, we had watched only that, or we had time for things for the family. There was always family time. Now there is no family time at all, and we do not spend time. There is very less quality time. So, but then the time that is spent, you know, see, there is a feeling that people have. I spend time with my family or my child. What did you do? We were watching movie together. That's not the quality time. You have to sit and communicate. As I said, communication is the key. Watching a movie together is not a quality time. So, but that is considered like, oh, like Sunday is my family time. We go out, we go for a movie, we go for a dinner. Okay, fine, food. At least you talk something in between. A movie, 3 hours you are mute. You don't talk to each other. You are just seeing the response or emotions of someone else, which is never considered as a quality time. So, and another thing that comes is, as I said, we had only one channel and we watched. Now, as a parent, when we are watching something, if there is an advertisement on one thing, our hand, you know, it looks for the remote and we flip channels. That shows our, like, we do not have patience, intolerance. Again, that's what is mimicked by the child. So I would say we are, you know, what our child is. Whatever the child grows, it is from us. 50% could be the child has its individuality. So the parents should find time. There is no, at least till the age of 5, they should find time. And that should be the top-notch priority for a parent. If not, please become a parent whenever you are ready to. That's what I would say. Don't ruin the future generation. As a parent, as an educationist, as a citizen, as a mother, that is my request for every parent, not only mother. I would not say that it is the responsibility of the mother, father and mother. Now it's equal. If you are not prepared, no problem. You can always wait. But once you are, be accountable for the child.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda, for giving your very strong views. Now my question goes to Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Dr. Mittal, nowadays the young generation put a blame on the grandparents of a child. They say they are pampering, and that's why the child is showing tantrums. Many times it happens, the child is crying, the grandmother or grandfather says, oh, why he or she is crying? They give something which the child wants, and which the mother or the father of the child is not liking. And the blame comes from the grandparent. While in the earlier time, as you are mentioning, your time, there used to be joint family. When the tantrums of a child were ignored because nobody has having, they know that this is a very normal thing, and either uncle or auntie or chacha or tau or tai or chachi, they are taking, or bua, or all those relations were taking care of the child. So the tantrums were not there, and there was no blame on the grandparents. But nowadays, the blame comes on the grandparents. Do you agree that the grandparents are one of the cause of the child tantrums or not? Dr. Urvashi Mittal, please.
Sir, to be truthful, to a certain extent, yes. Because see, in our culture, they say interest is much more clear to the heart than the principal amount. So while they ignore the tantrums of their own children because of their old age or whatever little affection they get, and I believe we have so many psychologists sitting here. It is the physical hug, the affection. You know, the grandchildren, normally their own children don't have time. They don't hug them, but the youngsters, when they go hug them, cuddle them, sit in their lap and do all the things, they are suddenly reminded. And they do not want to lose this newfound love and affection, the physical hug and the kisses and everything which they get. So, and again, they are the interest. So yes, they do that. But sir, this is the globalization. These days we are having nuclear families. So, you know, grandparents, they are hardly staying together. And whatever over love, over affection, as even Brinda said, and all of us agree, excess of everything is bad. So yes, that's going away. Everything is taken care of by itself. When it's a continuous flow, deformities will set in, then they will go out, then other deformities will set in. So this is being taken care of by itself. How many joint family houses do you see these days? And again, the grandchildren who are over smart by themselves, who keep themselves abreast with the latest things. They know how to handle their grandchildren also. They are behaving very responsibly. And sir, I just want to say one thing here on this note. I want to say it earlier. This is not the answer to your question, but when you are tired of playing parents, you want to again become a child. Whenever I go in front of my mother, now also I throw tantrums. I go to my parents' house and suddenly I realize I'm throwing tantrums because maybe I'm tired of playing a responsible mother and I want to become a child all over again. So I do everything that I tell my child not to do. So I become that. And again, as Joyce said, like her husband, also a grown-up child, Sunday, I'm sitting here glued to my laptop, being here apart. My husband, he's inside. He's like a big child. At times, he's putting the volume of the TV on a higher thing. He just wants to disturb me. He just wants my attention. So again, you have to deal with it everywhere and you have to be very understanding. And again, ultimately, I find myself the evolved lot. People say, "Na, we are at par." I say, why are you degrading yourself by being at par? I'm much smarter. I'm better. I am the better half. So yes, I am the better half and I like to retain my title. So yes, I have to be more responsible. So I like to play my part. And again, satisfaction is the key to everything. Excess of everything is bad. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal. I am sure that I have to keep a program for the adults tantrum because I found that today that the adults tantrums are more than the child tantrum. Thank you very much. Now my question goes to Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati. Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati, when to worry? Because this is a question which is asked by many new mothers. They say when to worry about the child tantrums, because child is going to show the tantrums in what sort of forms. When it is a worrisome thing, one is that it's a normal thing which one and she is or he is hungry, they are feeding or wants some toy, etc. But is there any line where if they are crossing that line, then it's a worrisome thing that it should not affect the future of the child, that he or she will become alcoholic or drug addict or showing some other type of anger in future? What you say about this? We want your expert opinion about this, when to worry about child tantrums. Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati, please.
Wow. So the actual answer to this is that when a tantrum becomes anger, and when the anger is not being managed, if you see a reaction to a tantrum not being addressed makes the child or even the adult a very, very, very angry person. And what happens in that anger is impulsive reactions. And that is where then, as you rightly pointed out, addictions can happen because you need gratification. So where do you find that gratification? Through various objects of gratification. So I'm angry, I go and I drink alcohol, I calm myself down. I'm angry, I go and I take drugs, I calm myself. I don't mean me. I'm talking about generally statements that are subconsciously playing in people who get addicted. Not only that, even if you look at hardcore criminals, they come from a place of anger issues. And anger, why? Because they want something. The core of it is that emotional tantrum within them. They want something. They cannot control that urge and they go mindlessly and commit whatever they do. So that lack of gratification leading to anger that is not managed is very, 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 very dangerous. Parents must recognize what is a requirement, where a tantrum of call to attention is, and where is this going into anger and impulsive reactions that are destructive in nature. So a child crying in the mall and beating his arms around is not something that you would say not worrisome. It is very worrisome. It is very, very worrisome. But a child who's really hungry and goes, Mama, I don't have patience, I need that food, is a requirement for survival that I need that. This is where you know when you need help. You as a parent and that child as a child needs help. Manage the anger and the impulses.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma, for giving the advice. I'm sure those who are watching our show or those who are going to watch show afterwards will get the advices which you all, our experts, are giving, and they are very, very advantageful advices for them. Thank you very much. Now my question goes to Ms. Rigo. Ms. Rigo, do you think that, or you agree that the behavior of parents can be one of the cause for the child tantrum? Like if they are fighting in front of a small child, if they are abusing, if they are doing something which the child is observing and then they react on that. Do you agree with this or not? That the behavior of a parents are to be very good in front of at least the children or the child so that they will not show their tantrums. What you say about this, Ms. Rigo?
Yes, Mr. Goel, I agree with this. Actually, I've seen most of the parents and even sometimes at home, if me and my husband get into a quarrel or some kind of a short argument on something, I can see my both kids, even they start quarreling or arguing between themselves. And then we look at them and like, hello, this is not a different topic. I mean, you don't have to, talk between yourself. This is between the father and the mother. We are discussing something very important. So what they think that this is a normal topic. So then what we decided as parents that whatever we want to speak like this, we go on WhatsApp. Even if we are in the same room, we sit on each corner and we start WhatsApping each other. So we're like, whatever you want to speak, either outside in the balcony or on the phones. And we don't want to put that pressure on the kids because they think it's normal. Oh, if the dad is shouting, okay, fine. Even I have the right to shout. Why? Because we get to see from what the parents are shouting. So it's not only the parents these days, even the TV plays a very big role. The movies, what these kids are watching, the games, what these kids are watching. I was surprised when I saw my kid playing one of the shooting game. And he was telling the other guy, hey, kill, he's dying, kill him. And I'm like, hello, what are you even talking? I mean, that's actually a bad word. And you're feeling happy that someone is dying on the other side. And then he was like, Mama, it's a game. So, you just be cool. So it's not only the parents, it's also the TV, the games, what they play. We have to stop even all those things because it really plays a very big role in their life. So yes, parents arguing or fighting in front of the children must be stopped. You can continue your fights. You can't stop it, right? This is part of life. Husband, wife, keep arguing and fighting, but do it over the phone. Much easier or outside somewhere, but not in front.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rigo, for your confession that you and your husband fights. And whenever there is a fight, now you are going on the WhatsApp. So I don't know how we will say to it, but whenever it means that your WhatsApp is full of fights. Anyway, thank you very much. Now my question goes to Ms. Brinda Shine. Ms. Brinda Shine, you being an educator, we have seen a trend nowadays because a nuclear family, the child, a small child of 6 months or 8 months or 1 year goes to a child care or goes to nursery. Now, do you think that they are, or even the schools, schools or those LKG, etc., they are also responsible for the child tantrum if they are not giving that attention because the parents are busy, so they are putting the child the whole day in the child care or the pre-nursery schools. Do you think they are also responsible for the tantrums which the children are showing? What you say about this, Ms. Brinda Shine?
Yes, sir, definitely. There is a research which says that the child, at least before it was 5, but then it has come down because of our busy life, at least till the age of 3, requires individual attention and not group attention. So it was 5, like around 20 years back, the record says it was until 5. And now the earliest is at least till 3. The child requires individual attention. That's why in olden days, they started sending child at the age of 5 to the school. Now it came to 3, it has come to 2. And even there are parents like working in school, they used to ask me, my child will turn 2 in, 3 months. Is it okay? Can you, they want to send the child, but from their perspective, they feel that for some parents, of course, they are busy. And for some, they think that the child going earlier to school will learn the manners at an earlier stage. As a parent, they want to give the best thing for the children. But they think that going to the school at an early age, it helps them. But the schooling starts from home. the child learns from parents. They need individual attention over the group attention. So for sure, when they get into the classroom, there are around 20, and there are schools which even has in nursery 40 or 50, and a teacher, she's a human. Even if you have a teacher and an assistant teacher, one teacher cannot take care of 10 or 15 where you find it difficult to take care of one. So all the emotions, that is, again, the child starts learning to control the emotions at a very earlier stage, which, where will the child express it out? So when the child comes back home, the tantrums will be double. So it is always better, at least wait till the age of 3.5 or 4 is the ideal age for schooling, if you ask me. Once they start throughout, it's going to be a non-stop for 18-20 years. Have time for it. Spend time. Like, as we said, we should get back to the, expanded family. Rather than leaving your child to the nursery, use the grandparents. They'll be more than happy to take care of the children. And the children are much safer. So definitely, though being an educator, working in the school industry, but I'm very sorry to say that the child needs group attention at least till the age of 3 or 3.5.
Thank you very much, Miss Brinda Shine. I recall my childhood now that when I was young, I was studying in the Montessori school. One day I showed the tantrum and I said that I will not attend the class if the class teacher is not wearing the red sari because of my name. It is in English, it is red. So I said I want that she should wear only the red sari. And my mother persuaded me, this is not correct. But I said no. She took me to her home. And then the teacher said that, see, I having only one red sari, which I am wearing, but I can't wear that every day. So although my mother presented one sari, but it impacted on my mind till now. And fortunately, why I'm recalling this story is, fortunately, last week only, I had a chance to talk to the same teacher. She must be now in 80s, and I said that I still remember that my tantrum, which was wrong. Today I realize that one should understand the thing, but it is, and that's why I said that every child is shown the tantrums in their life. Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda Shine, for telling about that age, which is very important, because nowadays people are sending, because of their nuclear family, their commitments, the work pressure, they have to send their child even after 6 months or 8 months for the child care, and that is impacting the tantrums in a different way. Thank you very much. Now, in the last round, I want from the Dr. Urvashi Mittal, your suggestions to the parents and the grandparents. What you say, because child, we cannot take the suggestion to them, but what are your observations, how the child, the parents or the grandparents should act so that the child who are showing the tantrums can be minimized and will not become in a deformed way when they grow up. Dr. Urvashi Mittal, please.
Sir, quick suggestions. As I said, we must analyze, because everyone has different endurance and patience and bent of mind preferences, that what is the capacity of child and when child is liable to throw tantrums. And as Brinda said, communication. So this is the time you have to communicate not only with your child, but with your in-laws also. The grandparents of the child, you must make them understand that these are changing times, and if we are giving them over affection, we are spoiling them, and we are not making them fit for the environment, because these are the times of survival of the fittest. You have to be absolutely best in every field. I'm not saying you have to become like a machine. You have to be human beings, but then again, you must do what is right in today's context. Grandparents, they are coming from their era, their generation. So even you have to communicate with them also, and you must make them understand. And again, we are the best. Our generation is like the tomato of a sandwich. Here are our in-laws, here are the children, and we have to be the most smart. We have to be most understanding. So we have to teach our in-laws, we have to teach the grandparents that yes, if we do this, our child is going to be spoiled, our child is going to suffer. So while she's pampering the grandchild, we cannot react, because reaction is not expected from us. That's going to worsen the situation. Whatever we do, it has to be a responsible response. So control, hold on, deep breath, go inside. And when the child is not around, go to your mother-in-law, go to your father-in-law, explain to them. So the same thing, communication, understanding, and trying to be in their shoes. Because again, we have to be strong yet flexible. We also must understand what's right as per this generation. Frankly speaking, in our times, even wearing sleeveless was considered that, wow, come on, it's not the school decorum, can't do that. These days, the things have gone way beyond it. Everything, this is just a small example. So we must understand what is right and then behave normally.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mittal. And why only to in-laws? I think the most spoiling is Nana Nani, that parents of the grandparents from maternal side, not the grandparents of the other side, the parent. Okay, thank you very much. Now, the same question goes to Miss Karishma Chhatrapati.
I would repeat what I said earlier: education, knowledge, awareness. It is very important as a parent to realize, as Dr. Urvashi Mittal said, your responsibility and not your reactivity. So take responsibility, be aware, ask for help where you require help. And, it takes a village to bring up a child. And this is such a popular saying. What does this mean? That everybody who surrounds that child from the time this baby is born is responsible for how this child is going to be formed into that universal being. As parents, we keep saying mother, mother, mother. I believe that as long as you're married, you too, father and mother, are as responsible to take care of that child, because I just want to bring in one more fact, that in parenting skills, it's usually the mother who holds the stick and the father who holds the carrot. And that is where also imbalance in parenting does cause the tantrums. So everyone has the carrot and the stick and play that role as per required. Communicate as a family, and your child will be another beautiful human being in this world if you are careful, mindful in your parenting skills. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati. Now my same question goes to Ms. Rigo.
Sir, I would like to say that keep yourself far from the technology, because as what you said before, most of the parents...
Miss Rigo, I'm just cutting you. You only said that you are angry, you are using the technology to communicate with your husband when you are fighting.
That is different. Now it's about the children, right?
Okay.
That was the argument topic. So you have to argue and fight over your phone. That's not a problem. But yeah, dealing with the children, nowadays you see parents don't play board games. I hardly see parents sitting and playing Carum or badminton, Ludo, snake and ladders. Where are those games? I mean, when we were with our parents, we used to play all those things. But nowadays, most of the communications happen on the phone, parents and children also. So even now in my home, if you come, you will find Ludo, snake and ladders, carom board, everything. So give most of the time physically with your children. As Ms. Brinda said about the communication, I talk a lot. Sometimes they tell me, Mama, keep quiet. So talking really helps. And I love talking. So it's fine to go on, talk to them about some stories, because as a mother, we really have a lot of stories from the office, from our work spots, from the events. So children like to listen to that. So yes, it really helps. So leave your phone aside when the children are with you, and maybe sit and watch a children movie with them. That also helps a lot. You don't have to sit and watch your 13 plus, 17 plus movies. You can sit and watch 7 plus. They're really good. So most of the Peppa Pig cartoons and all are watched by me. So more than then, even I know the stories. So it helps. It helps dealing a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Rigo. Now, same question to Ms. Vrinda Shine.
I want to add on to what Ms. Rigo said. Like, as we said, the time, like she was referring about the Legos and the snake and ladder. So we run the restaurant. So we have a policy in our restaurant, which was actually implemented by my husband, that, in our restaurant, there is no phone time. When the parents come to every table, the time that they wait for the food to arrive, if you see what the family comes out, dinner time or lunch time, you go out, it's a time to spend, with each other, where you see each one will be holding a mobile phone. And so our restaurant, we have a policy where we give every customer who sits at the table, immediately we have kept someone, the service boy, he takes there's a snake and ladder which has been taken to every table, and until the food comes. And we see, even however old they are, even people at 60s or 6, they used to, and they really enjoy it. Other than that, what they would do is, so that creates even food is it's an emotion, it's an experience. It should give a good feel. And so when you go out, so certain small things makes big difference. So when you go out, communicate. And I always say affection, attention, communication. Practice in life always. It will never fail you.
Okay, thank you very much, Brinda Shine. So, viewers, we are seeing today the expert opinions about the handling child tantrum, which is not easy. It's people say that why this topic? Because we know that how that young mothers or the parents are facing difficult times because the child is showing the tantrums, and as we discussed and we found that the tantrums are mainly because of the ignorance of the parents. They are not understanding, that they are not giving the affection or the attention, or they are not communicating properly. And as our panelist says, you talk to them even if they are not understanding a single word. But if you will be narrating the stories like earlier times, the grandparents used to narrate the stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata or Bible or whatsoever the religious things to the child, so that those good vibes can go and can control those tantrums. Even the child is small, but take it seriously. After all, as one of the panelists says, they are the future of our country. They are the future for the society. They can become a good human being only if their child tantrums were treated, tackled timely, properly. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Carunews, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as first shown live on Facebook and YouTube. So today's program, I'm sure that today's program is very enlightening. And if you like it, you can comment on that comment box or wherever you want. But please, my request is, instead of commenting, try to implement the suggestions which has been given, because this is not only for the parents, this is also for the grandparents, because they are also one of the main factors today, because of the nuclear family, because of those families have no time, the parents have no time, but grandparents have sufficient time to spend with their grandchildren. See to it that their tantrums could not be termed and the pampering, but they should be tackled nicely. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Thank you very much, Ms. Karishma Chhatrapati. Thank you very much, Ms. Joyce Rigo. Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda Shine, for giving such a valuable inputs today. And I'm sure today's program is very enlightening. Thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much.